Hello, I'm Mrs. Cooling, and today I'm going to be reading Part 3 of Bob and the House Elves by Emily Roeder and Tim Archibald. When Bob got home, the elves were worse. He ate some fairy bread to settle his nerves. Then he had a bright idea. He pitched his tent in the living room and zipped himself inside. Then he read the book in peace all afternoon. At 6:05, he yelled, "Bingo!" He'd found what he was looking for. There it was, in black and white on page 117. The recipe guaranteed to banish elves from houses, boats and caravans. Tomato sauce, a cube of ice, a slice of mouldy cheese, 3 snips of dirty fingernails and 22 baked beans. Stir it well and heat it up, then give the pan a whack. Say these words while turning round with your head inside a sack. "Elven folk, I have spoke, begone and don't come back." "Sounds simple enough," said Bob. He rushed into the kitchen with the book and he got a saucepan ready. He started to assemble the ingredients. Tomato sauce, ice, mouldy cheese, dirty fingernails, no problem. But when it came to the baked beans... "Crikey!" howled Bob. "I'm all out!" He'd been so upset he'd forgotten to do his Saturday morning shopping. He grabbed his wallet and ran outside, but when he got to the corner shop, it was shut. "Open up! Open up!" he yelled, beating the door with his fists. But there was no one there. Tony, who owned the shop, had left long ago. After all, it was Saturday night and he was going to the movies with his girlfriend. Bob trailed home in despair. 22 baked beans, he muttered as he walked. "That's all I wanted. A few miserable baked beans. Was that too much to ask?" Back in his house, Bob ate some fairy bread to settle his nerves. And then he thought of his neighbour, Lily Sweet. Did ladies like her ever eat baked beans, he wondered. It was worth a try. Chapter 7. Bob went next door and knocked. Lily answered the door, and when she saw him, she smiled. "Well, hello, Bob," she said. "What can I do for you?" Bob went red. "I was just wondering," he mumbled, "if you have any baked beans at all." "Oh dear, I'm very sorry, but I don't," said Lily Sweet. "I ate the very last of mine for dinner just now. If only you'd come 2 minutes earlier." "Oh no," groaned Bob, clutching his head. "Do you need baked beans especially?" she asked. "I have kidney beans. I've got haricot beans and broad beans and butter beans. I've got green beans, string beans, jumping beans, jelly beans. Would any of those do instead?" "I don't reckon they would," said Bob. "It's a recipe, see? Tomato sauce, a cube of ice, a slice of mouldy cheese, 3 bits of dirty fingernails and 22 baked beans." Strange expression appeared on Lily's face. "But isn't that the recipe for getting rid of elves?" she asked. "From houses, boats and caravans?" Bob went even redder. He hung his head. "Yeah," he confessed. "It was in the book that I got from the library." Lily clasped her hands. "So, do you have elves, Bob, in your house now?" Bob knew he couldn't lie to Lily. She had such a nice, kind grey eyes. "Yeah," he muttered. "A whole mob of 'em. They're driving me bonkers. And I can't get rid of 'em, Lily. Crikey, I've tried everything." He looked up to see how she was taking it. She looked very, very shocked. "Oh, Bob," she breathed. "I'm so sorry." Bob went the reddest he'd ever been, and he was, to tell the truth, a little bit disappointed. He thought Lily might have tried to make him feel better, but instead he felt worse. "Oh well, I suppose it could happen to anyone," he said bravely. "See you round then. Bye." And he turned to go back to his house. "No," Lily cried. "Don't go. You don't understand. Oh, Bob, this is all my fault." Chapter 8. "Your fault?" said Bob. He was astounded. "Oh, yes," said Lily, very upset. "I had elves at my last house. They must have moved with me in my furniture. They like that, you know. Once you've got them, they tend to stay." "Don't I know it?" said Bob with feeling. Lily shook her head. "But I had no idea they'd spread next doors into your place," she said. "They must have found a hole or something. And all this time they've been worrying you. I feel terrible." She looked so unhappy that Bob patted her on the arm. "Don't you give it a thought, Lil," he said, trying to sound cheerful. "Look, how about you give me some of those kidney beans and I'll have a go with them?" "Oh, Bob, if only I'd known why you wanted that book," cried Lily. "I could have told you. That old recipe doesn't work, even with proper baked beans. I know. I tried it when I first got elves years and years ago while on holiday." "What?" yelled Bob. "Doesn't work?" He went very, very, very red this time, and it wasn't because he was embarrassed, it was because he was furious. "You mean I read that book in a tent for the whole rotten afternoon for nothing?" he shouted. "You mean whoever wrote that book is a con man, a crook?" He clenched his fist and looked around with rage. "Where's he hang out? I'll soon show him what's what. The low miserable." He wasn't usually violent, but he was quite upset. Are Bob and Lily stuck with elves forever, or can they find a solution? Find out more tomorrow.